There's a very high level of desperation to be smaller than what many of us are. And it is, even on my Instagram, I get a lot of DMs, and some are even forwarded to me by some of my influencer friends, from people who are actually even contemplating taking their own life.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's on both sides of the spectrum. So there's the ones who are big or overweight, then we have the ones who are underweight.
Okay.
So I have actually one, I think it's a week ago, who sent me a DM, and she's in one of the disciplined forces, and she's being bullied at work for being small, and she's contemplating taking her life. You can imagine she's an armed disciplined force member. So for her to have gotten there to think and actually now type it out and send a cry for help to some random influencer who's like, I know a coach, talk to Steph. So I need to find her physically and at least hear her out. So there is a very high level of desperation, because the saddest part is the people who actually talk negatively about your body image or about your physical, how you look on the outside, are the people who are closest to you.
Hello. Welcome to the Lioness Grotto podcast. My name is Ananjoroge, and in this podcast, we discuss money, wellness, beauty, fashion, entrepreneurship, and life. After all, as we navigate life as Black women, we need experiences from others so we can learn from them. We don't need to go through every single experience in order to learn. So we are here to motivate, embrace each other, learn from each other as we go through life, living a limitless life. Today, we discuss a topic that is in the mind of every woman at some point in life. I don't think there is any woman that hasn't had to go through this at some point. Some always, some in different seasons. And this is body image. And with me today, I have two amazing guests that are willing to share their journey, how they deal with body image issues, how to navigate it. And they are Stephanie Mwaura and Diania Ochola. These two women I know well. Stephanie is actually starting a journey with me right now as a personal trainer. I'm going through a transition in my body, and you're helping me. Actually, right now, I really hurt.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I can barely walk. So would you introduce yourselves and tell us who you are?
All right. My name is Stephanie Mwaura, and I am a personal trainer and fitness coach, and I only train women. That's my main target market. And I am also a big believer in exploring your fittest, healthiest self, whatever your body looks like, whatever age you're at, whatever season you are in life. Yeah.
Diania?
My name is Diana. I'm many things, but for this podcast, I'll say I'm a lover of people and wanting to see them explore and be the best versions of themselves. In addition to that, I also run a skincare line called How We Nature's Touch, and I'm excited to be here to share my body image journey with you.
So I'll start. For me, my first body image consciousness was, I think I was 14. Yes. So was I 14? Yes, I was in Form 2. And I was very, very, very skinny, like a lot of, ass, like when we were growing up. I was a stick. Yeah. And then somewhere in Form 2, I came home for the holidays and I went back to school and I had hips. And it was this. And during that holiday when I came home, my younger brother, and he's my younger brother, he's 4 years younger than me. And I'm sure he wasn't saying it in even a sexual or a negative way. He told my mother, your daughter has very big hips.
Wow.
And he was 10. So it is not anything bad, and it was very innocent. And it's the first time it registered, but it never became an issue, because then when I went back to school, I was in a girls' school.
Yeah.
And I remember the Form 3s and the Form 4s, oh my God, you have such a beautiful body. Because I had these hips and then this small waist. So it became, okay, I am good. And for me, it never became an issue again until later in life. And that's the thing about the seasons of a woman. It's an issue, it's not an issue. So for you, Stephanie, I know you're a fitness, trainer, but does that ever become an issue? And when was the first time it was conscious?
Well, I had never thought about it that way until you've shared yours. And I think for me, it was around when I joined high school. I'm not sure which form. I think probably in Form 2 as well. Because in primary school, I had a health condition that made me very tiny. I was very small. People say I'm really tall and everything. That was not me when I was in primary school. I was a swimmer. I've been a swimmer all my life. So in primary school, I was very small, like really, really small. Then when I went to high school, after the medical procedures that were done to sort of deal with the heart issue that I had that had stunted my growth, then I just blew up in high school. And for me, what I remember people saying is, you have such a big ass. That was it. So you remember those jokes for when you go for, so in our time, you'd go for music festivals and everything. And there were these stupid pickup lines. Like, what's your favorite team? Football team. You know that one?
Yeah. No.
And then someone says, Manchester United, because you have an ass and all.
No.
You remember, there were those jokes. There were.
That was horrible.
Yeah. So it was. I think it was very apparent that my ass was quite big, like to many. It was not like that in primary school. In primary school, I used to look like the boys. Yeah, and I was never among the hot girls there. Girls who, because in standard 7, standard 8, then people would be talking about people are blooming and some have bust. Me, I was like the boys, flat in front, flat behind, fast as a bullet in the water. Like there was nothing. So I think it must have been in high school. And to date, my glute is a conversation starter to date. Yeah. So I guess, but for me, I don't think it ever bothered me because I was very accepting, and I'm still very accepting of my body. That's how it looks.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Exactly. So when people point it out, I'm not surprised. I know how it looks. I've accepted how it looks. I love how it looks. It is mine, yeah.
So
yes, where do we take that conversation from there? And then also being a coach now makes me. I don't know whether to call it vigilance or my responses are very heightened because I not only carry mine, but what my clients bring to me.
Yes.
So I'm very keen on what people say about other people's bodies, and I always have a response to it.
And for you, Diana?
I think for me, it's a bit quite different. So I grew up in a family where we're all on the larger side. So I never had eyes that people were skinny or fat. I just knew that we were all a bit different. This is how I looked, this is how everybody looked. So I grew up a big girl. My late uncle had a name for me in Luo, it's Opugna. Opugna just means this round, almost like a sack of potatoes. But I never took offense to it because I was like, I'm just this round, cute girl, So leading up to, so for me, it's after high school. That's when I noticed that I'm a big girl. And I noticed it because a boy mentioned it. So for me, it's a boy who brought it to my consciousness that I'm different. But I never saw myself as different. All through high school, I just appreciated everybody as being different. And in my family, I mean, my dad is I grew up with a dad who, you're beautiful all day, every day. And my brothers never, ever mentioned anything. So when I met this chap and he made it quite apparent, and I was like, And then he made a statement that till now, I think I need a bit more healing. He said, girls like you need makeup to look beautiful.
Oh, wow.
And that thing, and you know what? He's saying this at the same time, he's still hitting on me. So the level of toxicity of this thing was just at a different level. But now I have language to it. At that point, I didn't.
You had no language.
Yeah, I didn't have any language. So then I was like, wow, so I'm actually different. And that for me was big. It changed the trajectory of me and how I saw myself.
So how did it change? Did you start doing things differently? Were you self-conscious?
I think the first thing I did at that point, I remember going to Health U in town. Because I was never a person to weigh myself. So I weighed myself. I even have a diary. I was 103. So in me, I was like, I was like, in my head, maybe I was 80, max 85. But then I'm like 103. Okay, for sure, then I'm big, right? So then we have to do something about it. I remember living there. I even spent money. I spent over, I think maybe like 15 or 20,000. They gave me fat burning pills. And then I bought two sets of pills. I think for him, he was just, because I told him this is what I want to do, right? And he's a bodybuilder, and he told me this is the program you're gonna do. You take these pills like this. Immediately, I didn't take them for more than 1 week, because in 2 days my blood pressure was high. I was sleeping, and my body was pulsating when I'm sleeping, and nobody knew this. I was like, what if I
So you haven't
die?
even told anyone.
I'm like, what if I die?
Yeah.
So I put those things away. I was like, okay, then let's try a different routine, because that wasn't working. And then I hit the gym, and I hit the gym like a maniac. I was working out twice a day, 2 hours in the morning and in the evening. It was crazy, because now I needed to create this individual that would be accepted, that would be seen.
So Stephanie, as you know, Diana is speaking and is talking about the pills, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Do you see this in a lot of women who are not just in your clients, but even online when women approach you? Do you see this a lot? Like just the quick fix right now.
Yes.
I just want to lose the weight.
Yes. There's a very high level of desperation to be smaller than what many of us are. And it is, even on my Instagram, I get a lot of DMs, and some are even forwarded to me by some of my influencer friends, from people who are actually even contemplating taking their own life.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's on both sides of the spectrum. So there's the ones who are big or overweight, then we have the ones who are underweight.
Okay.
So I have actually one, I think it's a week ago, who sent me a DM, and she's in one of the disciplined forces, and she's being bullied at work for being small, and she's contemplating taking her life. You can imagine she's an armed disciplined force member. So for her to have gotten there to think and actually now type it out and send a cry for help to some random influencer who's like, I know a coach, talk to Steph. So I need to find her physically and at least hear her out. So there is a very high level of desperation, because the saddest part is the people who actually talk negatively about your body image or about your physical, how you look on the outside, are the people who are closest to you. It's not normally a random stranger on the road that you're so fat.
No,
because
it's the people
if they tell you you're so fat and they're on the road and like you're so ugly, you'll walk away.
Exactly, and you walk
But
away.
it's your partner, it's your mother, it's your auntie, it's your father, it's your boyfriend.
Yeah.
It is somebody you really like, it's your best friend. Your best friend just says something like, that dress doesn't look nice on you. You know how fat you are? And you've never had it that way. You know you're big. I mean, nobody is
know.
unaware.
Exactly. You're not unaware.
Exactly. You live in that
yourself.
body. You live in that body. You buy clothes for that body. You feed that body. You clean it. You know how it looks. But the people who say these things that seem very hurtful and unkind are people who are close to you. So there is a level of desperation. And especially because you'll find some of us don't know. It's not all laziness and bad habits that has gotten us to the bodies that we have, especially for women. And I keep saying, one of the things I teach women is self-compassion, which I also teach myself, because even I am going through the same seasons that women go through. Having self-compassion to the level that you understand that in certain seasons you added weight and you changed nothing in your nutrition or your exercise. Your hormones were all over the place, or you had a baby and your body hasn't come back to itself. Or you are going through grief and you didn't have time to hit the gym or to do the things that you were doing.
Even just the will, because you're barely surviving.
Exactly.
All your energy is being taken up by just living.
So if people had a little more compassion for themselves, they'd be able to extend compassion to others. Some are naturally trim, tiny, six-pack. They've never trained with anybody, but they look like they can model. And that is genetic. But the arrogance to project your genetics on me and tell me, how come you can't just lose weight? Well, my genetics and yours, none of us chose, and none of us are here by choice. And it's not all bad habits and choices that has gotten us where we are. So yes, there is a very high level of desperation, especially now with social media.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even for me, that's why, like you mentioned, sometimes you guys will never see me on my feed. You'll see my workout clothes because that's my office.
Yeah.
And that's a business page. So what you'll see more there is me in my workout wear because I am working.
You're working.
Because the moment I post a lot of fashion-sided pictures, I also need to know that I have a responsibility to my followers. So when I post them, there's a lot of comments. If I had your body, I wish I could have that body. And I'm like, this is not about my body. I'm here to coach you to get the best out of yours. So it's a very, social media also is a very double-edged sword. It can inspire, but it can also lead you to a comparison, and which is not good.
Yeah. So I know you focus on women. We'll
Yes.
get to why you focus on women.
Yeah.
But can you walk us through your, fitness, becoming a coach, the journey, and how you ended up at deciding just women?
So I keep saying fitness chose me. I never chose it. I never sat down and said, I'm going to study fitness. No. I was always a swimmer. I was a sporty kid. I played every sport except basketball and hockey.
As
And
tall
then,
as you are.
as tall as I am, I never played basket. I used to find basketballers very aggressive, and hockey players, they bang legs in between sticks.
Yes.
I'm like,
No.
I am already considered loud and aggressive, so I don't want to be on the court. I might blast somebody's
Somebody.
face with a ball, So I never played those two, but everything else I played, and I've always been in a team somewhere. Swimming, netball. I even coached netball at some point. I have done all the athletic kind of things you can imagine can be done in a school. But when I went to university, I applied for economics, but I was picked for English, linguistics, and sociology. I sat in that class for 2 weeks. I'm like, this is not me. Let's change the course. Now, my only options were hospitality and tourism and sports. So I went for hospitality because it was a management course, on the basis that I could combine it with sports. I didn't want to play hockey for a whole semester.
Okay.
So that's what I did. But I was still swimming in university, and my swimming in university was my peak. That was my peak for my swimming, competitive swimming. So I was not only swimming for myself, but I was also coaching the team. So as soon as I was done, the university gave me a job because they needed somebody to continue the coaching, at least for the next year, because we had another international meet. So I stayed on. Now, during that time when I was captain in the swimming team, we were requesting for access to the gym, but it never happened until I graduated. So after graduation, then teams were allowed access. So now I could go as a coach.
Okay.
So one day in an aerobics class, I'm standing at the back, laughing my head out because of how people are missing steps. And somebody asks me, are you a fitness coach? I'm like, no. Why? And he said, you are not missing even one step. You should consider becoming one. That was it. I don't know who it was.
You don't even remember.
I don't remember.
They spoke life into you.
They spoke live, and I was like, good idea. Then I asked the coach the head coach, I was the assistant coach. I asked the head coach, why do people study fitness? And she sent me a college. Next week I went. So while still coaching, I applied, and I went back to school now after my degree and studied fitness. So since then I have done around 4 to 5 courses, still doing one now. How did I decide to finally train women only? So in the early stages of my career, I got pregnant with my firstborn. I think I was 2 years in to fitness. But there wasn't enough information of what can I do when I'm expectant. Everybody is sending you out of the gym when you're pregnant. Because utaleta shida, but you could have the baby in the gym, and we don't have the skills. We don't know what is going on. And, the African context of prenatal fitness is put your feet up and have everything done for you. That's why we don't queue in the bank. We don't
The
carry
supermarket.
our handbags. We don't do anything.
Oh.
The moment you're pregnant, you put your feet up and everybody is beck and call like this. So for me, that didn't sit well because what am I doing? First, I quit my job. I quit my job because the fitness environment was not conducive
for what you were doing with
morning
pregnant,
sickness, and you're starting shifts at 5. So I quit and I stepped back. So during that time, I decided to explore what does it mean to train when pregnant? What do I need to consider? all the doctors I had conversations with were not for it, but I wasn't hearing because there were no complications. And for me, I always ask why. So don't exercise. Why? Yeah. Could I have it in writing so that I can take
So
to
I
the
can
coach?
Tell them.
They couldn't write anything because I didn't have any morning sickness. My first pregnancy was fantastic. It was very easy. So I didn't understand. So I trained all through. And during that time, I used myself as an experiment on how it is to train while pregnant and then how to train postpartum. And that's when I decided, I think I want to train more and more women. I only now niched out completely where I do not take men at all in 2019, the year before COVID. That's the year I said no more men.
Was there
I'm
a
done.
specific reason or?
So now I felt I had understood my own body. I had trained a few women, different ages, different needs. And I wanted to focus on that and just put my energy there so that I can offer women the solutions they're looking for. Because even when a woman tells me that my goal is to lose weight, I know there's another underlying reason for that.
Yeah.
Because the weight will move. My programs are good.
Yeah.
I have tested them for over 10 years. They work. But once the weight is lost, there'll be something else that you are hoping to feel or to achieve that was not, you thought it was about the weight. And anybody who's lost weight can tell you. After they lose the weight, then they're like, it was actually not the weight that was bothering me.
Say that again.
I needed to go for therapy for that
For
boy.
something else.
That boy who said that
That boy.
Exactly. So you thought when you get to the weight, the ideal weight that you wanted, you'll stop feeling all these things. Then you realize you didn't stop. So I wanted to understand how women perceive fitness. Also, the fitness industry has really sold the bad things to women because we are the majority of the clientele.
Yeah.
Yes.
So 70 to 90% of the fitness industry is supported by women. That's our clientele, and that's world over. That's not a Kenyan statistic.
No, that's actually the world over.
It's world over. But the needs for women are not met. You come to the gym, the last thing a woman wants, I think, is to be shouted at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is the gym doing to us?
Yeah.
Shouting.
You walk in and you're tired. You've not even put your bag down and you're so tired because the trainer in the class next to the one you're going to is screaming his lungs out. And you're like, what is wrong? It's 6 a.m. So I wanted to change that for my clients. And I wanted women to feel safe. And I think I realized that that's what I wanted to do after I've trained women and people have given me feedback. I wanted women to feel safe, that you come to the gym. Number one, you will not be touched by anybody. Okay. Number two, your goals will be achieved. Number three, I will bear in mind what is going on in your body every month.
Yeah.
That's another
Yes,
thing that doesn't
that's another
happen.
thing, with women.
Because when I tell a male trainer I'm on my period, he's like, so what? Like everyone else could be on their period. Of course, he has no experience of what cramps feel like. Or you're
or
having
even
PMS.
your hormonal
Yes.
what levels
It's
are.
PMS day and he shouted and you picked your bag with tears falling from your eyes and you've left. And he's like, you're behaving like a wuss or you are being soft.
You're not pushing
doing
yourself as hard as you should.
And I've had the things that people are told in the gym, and if I could, that's the only reason I'd join the disciplined forces. To deal with these people who talk badly to women without knowledge.
Yeah.
Because when you start telling somebody like that, you have no idea what happened or how they're feeling. Their body, in her mind, she wants to train. But it's the week before her period. Her energy is so low. So she comes to the gym, mentally she wants to train.
Yeah.
Physically, she's not able.
Yeah.
Physically, she's not able. She shouldn't be stressed because, you know,
Yes.
about progesterone being shy during that.
Yes.
Exactly.
She also is craving carbs.
Yes.
So even then eating and nutrition, so she's being yelled at because
Yes.
you had a slice of bread.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
clients can't even, one of the things I find very funny is that sometimes clients will tell me they're on Instagram, they follow me, I can't follow back because they're afraid that when I see what they post on their Instagram,
you'll be
I'll give them a
upset.
piece of my mind on Monday when we meet for a session.
Wow.
But that's the last thing I'm going to do.
I know.
So the industry has done
Yeah.
too much and it's the patriarchal society kind of setup.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's still trying to control women even in the gym
And
space.
police.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are being policed. Your bodies, even like
It's like
you
your
can't
body's
even
not
wear.
your own.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
even wear gym tights that are see through. What are you showing us in the gym? Your panty? Why are we seeing your? I'm in the gym.
Does it matter? Yeah.
Like, we are here to train. Can we focus? So that, I think, was the reason why I wanted women to feel safe and actually want to train. Also to make it within reach, because number one, I've never had we were talking about this yesterday with you. I've never had a flat stomach. People tell me I have a flat stomach. I'm like, where? Okay, maybe according to you. But knowing myself, I have never, even during my heydays in swimming, I never had a flat tummy. But I want people to know that it's not the flat tummy that will mean that you're fit
or healthy.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's focus on getting you to the healthiest that you have ever been. You're sleeping well. Your periods are regular. You are loving and accepting your body. You're working on it. You're nourishing your body. Women are not eating.
Yeah, it's true.
We could do a whole episode about how we are not eating. We say we are eating, but most of us are grazing morning till evening and on very specific things. So we have nutrient deficiencies. No one is talking about that. Because we want you to do that so that you look thin, prim, proper.
It's about to look thin, not healthy.
Yes.
And for the 2-piece.
Yeah.
For Diania in December.
And for you, Diana, I know you did the pills. At least you had the mind and the wisdom to quit after 2 weeks. Because there's some women that will still continue taking them and end up in the hospital.
Yeah.
Then you
I think I was too afraid to die.
you start working out twice a day and
Yes.
healthy for hours. How did you get to a space where you were okay with you? How did it get there? You're not working out and obsessing over everything.
So after I lose the weight. So I moved from 103. So my brother was getting wedding. So I work well with goals. So I like challenges. So, and I was going to be a bridesmaid. And I was like, I must look good. So I moved from 103 and I get to 80 in a span of less than 5 months. So November to March, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, March. So I'm walking down the aisle and people think that, so my aunties and uncles from Shags have come from up country and they're like, oh, is that Nicole? That's my baby sister, the last born. And people are like, no, that's Diana. And for me, that it saddened me. So because now I was like, am I getting attention because I'm small? Now it brought on this body dysmorphia is just a whole different even story, because now I was like, I'm getting attention because I'm small. So meaning when I was big, I wasn't enough. So that began just putting me in a space that was just, now I have to keep it. So I would binge eat and then work out, because I'm a foodie. I like food. I mean, I'm those people. Our genes are the way you're saying. Our genes are, when chapo is being made and the smell is there, the kilos are adding before it's made to my mouth. That's how my family is. The kilos are adding on the scent. So for me, it was such a very traumatic experience, because now I felt like I had the need to keep, because it was gaining this attention, and almost like I didn't have room to sleep up. It felt like I didn't have room. Yeah, I need to, because everybody was like, oh my, you look amazing. I'm like, wow, so I have to keep amazing, because then I wasn't amazing. But thank God I got an opportunity to move to Ghana, and I went to Accra. Let me tell you, Ghana men are not like Kenya men. So people love you all day, every day as you are.
And the thicker, the better.
Let me tell you. So I even changed my wardrobe. I was dressing just so cute, and people were just like, you're gorgeous. So I sort of became, how do I say, I got bigger. So I was still working out, but now I settled into a healthy weight. And because of the Ghana environment, because I wasn't a vegan then, so I'm plant-based. I wasn't a vegan then, so I was eating the fish and the fufu and everything. But I was so healthy, but I felt accepted. So Ghana really just made me, and I met this really amazing guy who just, I was able to he saw me. Let me tell you, he looked at me and he saw me. Let me tell you, when a man sees you, it's a whole different thing. It had nothing to do with my thunder thighs. It had nothing to do with anything. He just saw me. And that really motivated me to enjoy who I was. So coming back to Kenya, I began to have a different perception. So I began the work internally. So I'd have really good days of, oh my God, Diana, like, you're good as you are. And I had really bad days now, seasons of, okay, we need to keep it, we can't gain weight. And I remember it was a season where I gained weight and someone was like, you become fuller again. And I'm like, but I'm not 103. Do you remember how much work I've done? So in my head, I'm like, but I've done so much work. Is it
You're
okay
still
for me
looking for
just
validation,
to be who I was? And I've always been a very active girl, just like you. I was a swimmer. I have certificates. I used to be number one. So even as a chunky, opugna, round girl, I was in netball. I was in rugby. So I've always been a very
fit and
Let me just say fit because maybe I didn't look fit.
Thick,
But active. You know, I was busy doing stuff, and for me that was really it. So getting into fitness and health, and I even went to did a health course on just nutrition, and because I'm plant based, many things we miss. So it's important for me to know my nutrients and my macros, and just so that I don't miss certain nutrients.
Right.
So getting into that space just for me and the knowledge also enabled me to start having a healthy relationship with my food and with myself, because I like food and I needed now to be conscious. Like, then imagine it's okay to eat chips. Like the world is not going to end because you ate chips. And it doesn't mean that you have to work out now, do cardio for 2 hours to burn off the calories. Exactly. No. And it's okay that she's saying, it's okay if you don't have a flat stomach, Diana. Imagine the world is not going to end. So I do have those seasons where I'm like, I really want to see how that would look like. But you realize that, because I got to my ideal weight once. And May had a number. For me, it wasn't even at 6 no. I needed to see how 70 looked on me. 70 kgs. And when I got there, I was still unhappy. So for me, I still saw the 103 girl. And it had to do with how I had accepted what people were saying. So it's very true. So whether the number is 103 or the number is 70, when you don't deal with it, it will still come back to you. So right now, I'm actually in a journey of going back to the 103 Diana attitude, where I lived life. Where I remember even my business partner Carol sent me a message last week. There was a picture that was going out on Facebook. Facebook reminds you of memories, so somebody sent it, and I was bigger there, and she wrote a message like, Diana, do you know how much you enjoyed life and your weight never mattered? You know, and I'm like, so I'm on a journey of discovering who that girl is, of that attitude. I can be happy in all seasons of my life. And now I'm a adrenaline junkie. I do a lot of challenges. So this year, my goal is to do my first solo triathlon in Diani. Done what happens by TriFit. I've done it before twice, but team challenge. So I'm working out through that. I've climbed Kilimanjaro twice. I hike. So these are things I do, even whether at my heaviest or my lowest. But the challenges help me know more of my mindset. Dana, you can do it. And it's not the number on the scale. Yeah.
So you hear a lot about this, and it's very true. Like in the whole journey, nutrition is everything. So for you, did the nutrition start coming once you decided to go plant-based? Is that when you started looking at it? Not that it, I know it wasn't the decision because we talked about it. It wasn't about your weight. But is that when you really started now looking and viewing, again, we talked about macros, your nutrition, are you getting the right...
Yeah. I think when I went plant-based, I even cooked a lot, because now I was like, how am I getting my protein? How am I getting my carbohydrate? But at that point, I wasn't too nitpicky. I was more of experimenting with ensuring I eat well. And I did eat well. I even cooked. The other day I went raw, and I went raw vegan. And people thought I was crazy. But I was actually eating well, because now I had to think about my walnuts, pistachios, nuts, and I was creating these wraps and everything. Like, I really did go all through the spectrum. But that opened my eyes to how nutrition has an important... But at that point, I wasn't even supplementing or anything. I was just trying out stuff. As I've gotten older, I think in my 30s, when I've realized the value of nutrition and the value, for example, for someone who's plant-based, protein powder. Yeah. Because I'm supposed to be at least at 100 grams of protein per day. It's very hard for a plant-based person to get to 100. So today morning, like for example, so I work out at around 4:30 to 5:30 in the morning. So once I was done, I got into the kitchen. So I have this protein powder. Here it's a bit hard to get the ones that have the good protein and taste well and don't make you fat. And that's another thing. I'm sure you know that. Yeah. It's crazy. So I got it from the US, and it's 21 grams of protein in 2 scoops. So I made myself a hot chocolate with that. Then I made myself some tofu. So I'm thinking about it now, and I'm being intentional. And then I did the math with seeds and nuts and everything to ensure, okay, if I've had this one meal, at least I have at least 40 grams of protein. Then I'll look for the rest throughout the day. But I think through my food. But for me, and I've seen the advantages of thinking about it. It actually makes me stronger. I feel so much better. And you become leaner, not skinny.
Yes.
And you become
Leaner.
stronger. So the value of just knowing and appreciating also my cycle and knowing what I should put up, like flaxseed, sesame seed, sprinkle them on food. Like these are things I'm just learning, listening to podcasts, and those things are awakening me. Dana, we want you healthy, strong, and not skinny. So that
Healthy and
and that's
strong.
changing my mindset. So there are days I'm like Christmas, I ate so well. And the scale showed. And I remember how I was feeling, Diana, how could you have let yourself down? And all this negative self-talk. I remember my friend told me, Diana, this year, you're not going to speak negatively about yourself. You look amazing. Fine, you've gained like 4 kilos in the span of a month. But we know why also. Salt retention, water, because you're eating a lot of salty food. Just be kind to yourself. Compassion. That's another thing I'm still learning. Compassion. Because sometimes these things still ring in your head. You remember what somebody said about you. You remember when you were not seen or chosen. You remember somebody, did they not pick me because of my weight? You know, if you think about a boyfriend or something. Or did I miss an opportunity because I didn't look a certain type of way, because a dress didn't fit well? It seems very small, but these things actually do have an impact. And right now I'm beginning to have more self-compassion and look at it like, food is fuel, Diana.
Yeah.
And it's okay still to have the Art Cafe chocolate indulgence once in a while. The world is not going to end. It doesn't mean that now you're receding back to old habits. Yeah.
So, Stephanie, you have a lot of women come to you.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of them will come to you with, I just want to get skinny.
Yeah.
How do you approach that? I know you're complete wellness, and I've seen your program. And
Yeah.
I didn't choose you. I had been following you for a while. So I had seen what you do.
Yeah.
And for me, that was important in order to get back into fitness. And we'll get into that. So when these women just, and I know you've said women will even come to you with a picture.
Yeah.
I want to look like this.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
In sometimes you're even probably given in a month or so.
Yes.
How do you advise these women? And, you know, I know you customize a program for everybody, nutrition. How do you help them to try and see it's not just about losing the weight, but it's a whole health, fitness, feeling good about yourself?
So the first thing I normally do is take someone through a consultation where we just have a conversation about you in terms of lifestyle. And when I say lifestyle, it's not just fitness and nutrition, your sleep, your work, and how that relates to your mental health, your emotional health. So you just give me a bit of information about yourself. Another part that many women struggle with, when I tell people to introduce themselves, they say what they do, who they are married to,
How many children they
how
have.
many children they have, and stuff like that. It's never anything that
It's personally.
I am the life, like myself, I'm the life of the party. That should be in my introduction every time. Or I'm a huge empath and I listen. I've grown to be a good listener. Many women struggle to talk about who they are. Once I understand who that person is and we go through their lifestyle, then I'm able to be very honest about the best approach based on the goals they have. I allow them to also share their goals, and your goals can be as ambitious as you want them. There's nothing your body cannot achieve. Nothing. It's just the timelines that you need to adjust. Yeah, you can get a 6-pack, there's this muscle down here called a teardrop. You can get all that. You can get big guns. You have big guns. You can get big calves. You can get a big glute. You can. It's just the timelines that you need to bear in mind. So once they share their goals, then I'm very honest from the beginning. I don't promise the sun and then I deliver earth. No, that is one thing I have never done in my programs. I don't tell you will lose 10 kilos within 1 month. No. If you look at my posters also, you'll see statements or what do you call it? Achievements like lose up to. There's inch loss. I won't indicate how many. It's what we are looking at is inch loss. We are looking at weight loss, but how much? So I'm able to be very honest from the beginning based on your lifestyle. First, you've told me about yourself. So based on whatever you are currently living and what's your reality, also your investment. Because some of us want to lose 10 kilos within 1 month, but our budget is 1,000.
Yeah. It's not going to happen. It's
Maybe
an
we
investment.
don't eat. Maybe that's the one
That's-
we can.
that's- you don't
That's the approach we should use. With the 1,000
shouldn't
budget,
eat.
let's not eat and let's not train. Let's just focus on being so that the body can lose by itself. Like that's another thing that I also teach people how to do, because where you invest is where you'll get a return. You don't want to invest in your wellness in terms of time. If you come to me and you tell me something like, I have a very hectic job, but I want to lose weight, I'm like, where does the exercise fit into your schedule? You have to fit it in somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
I'm not going to be able to bulldoze it. You have to
You have to
create
fit it,
time
to
for
create
it. So when we go through the consultation, we'll talk about what a typical day looks like for you. If you're not sleeping and you're here with me, you want to lose weight, I will not lie to you that it will happen.
Yeah.
Because poor sleep is very bad if you're trying to lose weight. It's very counterproductive. So we will do all the workouts we want. You'll eat the way I've told you to eat. But you will not lose the weight as fast as possible because of the poor sleep. I also get people to understand their relationship with food. I like a lot of things she said that, especially the food items she has mentioned, cake and chips. Yeah. So people always wonder, could you send me a food list? Number one, I do not do any omissions of food items. Yeah, because food is not moral. There's no good food and bad food.
Yeah.
There is highly nutritious food and food that is not very highly nutritious. And because food is fuel, we fuel based on the trip you're about to take. Do you fill your tank from Lavington to Westlands? No. So why are you eating the entire world and you're not even going for a walk? You get? So how our relationship with food determines how we will perceive it moving forward. Because even if you go to YouTube, you'll find trainers who've done weight loss eating crisps and soda only for 3 months, and they achieved the weight loss. Because weight loss is about numbers. It's about what you're eating versus your output.
Your output.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you eat less than what your body requires, you lose weight. Whether you like it or not, and it doesn't matter what you ate. Your body doesn't identify, hey, today is a good day, she's eaten brown rice. It only knows carbohydrate.
You had a carbohydrate.
Glucose, to
Yeah,
be very
very
specific.
specific.
At the end of the chain is glucose. Whether it came from rice, from bread, from pasta,
It's glucose.
from ndoma. Yeah, you're feeling very achieved. From plantains. It doesn't really matter. Your body identifies glucose.
It's glucose.
Your body identifies amino acids in terms of protein, whether it came from an animal or a plant.
Yeah.
It doesn't know. So once you stop moralizing food and labeling, we've labeled foods for so long.
Like one of my worst terms is eating clean.
Yes.
What does that
Or
mean?
cheat meals.
Yes,
I'm like,
or cheat meal.
who are you cheating? Me?
Like
Wow.
I wasn't there when you were cheating. Me, I didn't eat it. So who are you cheating? Yourself.
yourself.
Like, it doesn't make sense. And the more we say these things, the more we internalize them, and then we start to perceive. You know how shocking it is that to people that I eat cake. Like, Steph, you eat cake. I'm like, do you know when I was in fitness school, I baked my way through it. I had a baking business. I used to sell the best muffins in town. I'd deliver them before class. By 9 and I'm done. Have my money and I go and pay my fees.
That's amazing. Because you shouldn't verify. And then we put ourselves, when it comes to nutrition, especially women.
Yes.
The diet.
Yes.
The
diet culture.
restriction.
Yes.
I hate that word diet because the minute you use it, your brain tells you you're denying yourself.
100%. And you deny, then you reward.
And then you reward.
So those cheat days, I'm like, you'd rather not have a cheat day.
Actually, yeah.
You'd
it's
rather
the worst.
crave an ice cream, walk into a supermarket, buy an ice cream on a stick, eat it, finish, go on with your life. Instead of saying, I'll eat the ice cream on Saturday. Because Saturday now we'll have a whole plan. You'll wake up at 5 and you've started with Glovo in the morning. You've ordered. You know what you're ordering. Even the budget is there. The money is ready.
Yeah.
So you'll now go over and above what you'd have done with that one ice cream. So I also teach a lot of healthy habits around food and around exercise. So that it doesn't matter whether you train with me or not. You need to know that your body requires training and it requires nourishment. And it requires rest. and a very toxic job is bad for your health.
Yeah.
And your hormones are not
They
working.
play a huge
Yes,
role.
they are not working towards your goals. They're just working towards keeping this
Actually,
reproductive
sustaining-
system
yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Just
running
protecting
and
you.
keeping you alive.
Yeah.
So when you start saying, I don't know why I've added weight, like your body knows why you have added
Yeah,
weight. It's
your
the
body's trying
hormones
to
are all over
protect
the place.
itself. Like, yo, we can't die, so we
Exactly.
need to keep her alive.
So just bringing those things to women's awareness, like, you know, a lot of people say, I don't train during my period. And then I ask why. I was told I shouldn't train during my period. So I also challenge a lot of us to think through the things we have had before.
Yeah.
So you've heard that we should be losing weight. Me, I'm like, by the 2024, we are losing weight every year since 2015.
Since
Have you
2015.
noticed?
Yes.
That's
We
what
are all losing weight every year. Steph, I want to lose weight. I'm
It's
like,
a standard
this
goal.
year you don't want to be strong.
Strong. We're just
Or you
losing
don't want
weight
to be
since
sexy.
2015.
Come and
Like,
tell me I
come
want
on.
to be sexy this year. Last year I lost the weight. Now I want to
Be
be
sexy.
Or
Let's
I want
work
to
on
ride a
something
bike. I
else.
like what she said. She wants to do a triathlon. I have a client who makes my day. Every time I see her text, I'm like, I have no idea what she wants to do this time, but I'm here for it. She started on a postpartum program in 2022. 22? Late 2021. She had just had a baby like me. She's like, I would like the postpartum program. She got it. She finished. And she's like, now I want to get strong. She got so strong. Training at home. Then she's like, I think I want to explore bodybuilding. I'm like, let's go. Then she said, now I want to lean out. I'm like, good. We're going to go hard on the nutrition. And we did. Midway, she's like, I think I want to start hiking. And I'm like, fantastic. And she just finished Mount Kenya in December.
Amazing.
And I was like, what do you have for me in 2024? I am ready. Because for her, there's nothing that is she's limited to. Nothing. She's seen how her body can change. She can bulk and be a bit chubby just to climb a mountain. And then she can be lean to wear a
Now,
bikini because she wants to do a shoot, a boudoir shoot. Like for me,
So this one goal for I want
It's
to be
no one.
skinny. I want
Yes.
to lose weight.
I want to lose weight every year is your goal. Like,
exactly,
come on.
every year, it's like saying you want to make 30,000 this year and
And then
30,000 next year.
You're not
30,000.
growing.
We are losing weight every year.
Yeah.
So I really challenge us to just set your own goals. Stop looking at what people are doing on social media because there's a lot of things that are trending. There's a lot of cosmetic procedures for weight loss. So now suddenly weight loss has become their thing.
The thing.
Ozempic.
No, the balloons.
It's
Yes.
my.
The balloons,
Yeah,
especially.
the balloons in Kenya. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the time it takes to see the results from using a gastric balloon is the same time you need for a good trainer.
Actually, it's true.
Same
And if you have bad habits,
Nothing
it's still-
changes.
nothing changes. It's still going to come back.
Yeah, because once it's out, because the balloon doesn't last forever,
Exactly.
you'll not have learned any good habits. So I really focus on people learning proper habits. Don't beat down on yourself also. Another thing I see women doing, which is mentioned, which I really like. So if you skip a workout, people really beat down on themselves. So tomorrow they do 2, they run, they walk, they cycle, they don't eat, they take green tea the whole day. I'm like, it was one day. Out of 365, you missed one workout.
Yeah.
And consistency is not every day. It's as often as is possible.
As is possible.
They say don't miss a Monday twice. You know, those are the things that are written, those taglines on Instagram. Pa, pa, pa,
No.
Don't da da da. And then those are the things that create this fear and anxiety.
And
On behalf of all the trainers, I apologize for all our toxic motivation because it is toxic. Go big or go home.
Yeah.
Fat sweat is fat crying.
No.
Oh my God.
Sweat is fat.
You never heard that?
crying.
Yeah? Sweat is
No.
fat crying.
I've never heard that one.
Or something is pain living. I don't know. No pain, no gain. That's my
No
worst.
pain, no gain. Yes.
Because for me, when a client says I'm in pain, I stop everything
to
figure
hear.
out
to
why they're
figure
in pain.
out the pain. Pain is communication from your body. Something's off. And sometimes it's not within my scope. And if you can't understand that, then we will always struggle with injury. If you have ever gotten an injury, I have gotten one. You know how far back it can take
Can
you.
take you.
You lose so many hours, yet we would have avoided it. So the toxic motivation in the fitness field makes us beat up on ourselves. So you skip one day, you skip the next day, you skip the third day, then you're like, that week has gone. I'm like, no, it has
No, it
4
hasn't. You
other
still
days
have 4 other
left.
days. Yeah.
Show up for one, and that week won't have gone. Now, if that 1 week went, all of it, fine, let it be. Laugh it off, go next week. Start again. Start as many times as you want. I keep asking, if we don't give up, every year we have new financial and wealth targets. Why do we do it for our health?
For our health, yeah.
There's no year I hear someone saying, me this year I don't even need to work. I'm so rich. I'm so content. Have you ever had?
No.
Nobody.
No.
Everyone
No
is
money.
like, now I made, if your vision board said 1 million this year, I'll speak for myself. 2023, the figure I wrote on my vision board, I surpassed. This year I'm going hard. Do you hear me saying last year I worked every day?
Yes.
And I am here still saying even this year I want to surpass what I surpassed. Which was not the target I set. So same thing for your health. The same way you want to achieve something, be ready. We don't stop working. There's no day we say I'll not go to work anymore because I'm rich enough.
I have enough money.
I have enough money.
Yeah.
No, we never have enough. So set goals for your health and just work towards them as it comes. And when seasons come, because seasons change, and especially for women, especially those who are in the reproductive ages, if you've had children, if you're going through perimenopause, menopause,
It all changes.
It changes. Moving from a young lady in her 20s to a lady. The ladies who are turning 30 are just making my day on Instagram because now they can hear their knees. I'm like, welcome to Third Fork.
Welcome.
You're about to start wondering what is happening to everything. It's so hot and everyone is not hot. Those embrace the season and just do your best within that season that you're in. So that's I do a lot of coaching on what people perceive fitness to be, what we perceive nutrition to be, and how we talk to ourselves about it, because you determine a lot with what you say to yourself.
And that brings me to another, that's something that is never associated with fitness or how you look, mental health.
Yes.
A lot of the times you're not at your best body and everybody's commenting at how you look and how much weight you've gained, but it's all internal. So the reason I have you is I've been very physical. I'm very, very physical. I've always worked out. I've never been big. I've pretty been small. I think I told you my weight has always been about somewhere between 55 kilos to 57 kilos. My whole life, pretty much. In the last 4 years, I have gained 15 kilos. And that was mostly, I was just struggling to survive. And it hasn't been consistent. It started in 2020. I think we all gained weight in 2020.
Yes.
And I was stuck in the US. I think, Diana, you knew that. Yeah. And it wasn't fun because I'm not even home. I'm not around my family. I'm staying in other people's houses. So, and with everything going on, and I came back, I started losing it. And I think started working out. I lost a bit of it, but not back to my normal weight. And in 2021, my mother ended up in ICU for 30 days. Wow. I'm not going to be watching what I eat. And no.
You're trying to come up for air.
I'm trying because we didn't know. Every time the phone rang, my brother and I were afraid to answer it because you don't know if she's... And that whole process, being, she left the hospital and then she was in home care for 4 months. You're a caregiver. And no one ever asked you even, how are you doing as a caregiver? So I was like, and that's what your body does. It's just trying to survive. And that's compassion because I stopped beating myself up. Because I'm like, my body is doing what it needs to do
at this
moment to keep me alive and sane.
Yeah.
So whatever people may say, so that happened. And then so my mom got better, end of 2021, I went back again, started working out. And then literally the following year, 2022, February again, something basically blew my world out of the axis. And since then, it's just been adding because I couldn't even bring myself to a point where I want to either eat right or exercise. And because of the pain, we talked about this, another thing gets added on, alcohol. When you add alcohol on, so not just the calories from the alcohol, you also never eat right. I say no, and once you have a drink, you will never crave a salad.
Never. All right.
Ever.
Atinilete ugali.
Please, chips.
And greens. No.
No.
It's the fried, fatty, greasy, salty, meaty.
Yes, and then you end up, you're eating late at night. weird hours and always bad fried food. And I'm not liking my body. And I'll talk about this. That's me. Everybody actually likes my body like this.
They
right
like
now.
it now.
Yes. And that's also the part. It has to be about you. My mother-in-law brought it up the other day. Hey, you've gained weight. I'm like, for me, that's not a good thing, even though she's saying it in a nice way.
Yes.
My mom, during Christmas, was like, you look really nice. No. Even today, you guys met Kanye earlier, who we were talking to. I was
Yes.
talking to earlier. She's like, I really like you like this. But it's me. I don't like myself like this. And it has to be about you, not what everybody else thinks it should be. I like myself small. I don't want big boobs. I don't want a big ass because they also don't fit in with the things I enjoy. I love exercising. I love being outside. I hike. I'm a rock climber. Try lifting a big ass up a
Tell
rock.
me about it.
It is not funny.
Heavy.
I love it.
It isn't. My thighs have never rubbed when I'm walking. Now they touch. I told a friend of mine that when we were in Dallas, she laughed. She's like, I have never known my thighs not
Not
rub.
to rub.
It's like I don't
Right.
even. It's something I think about.
can't relate.
It is normal.
So for her, that's normal.
Yes.
And that is a space.
wow.
Even though everybody thinks I look better this way, I don't like it this way. And it goes back for me to when my boobs started coming out. Like right now I have boobs. I never have boobs. And I remember telling God, my mom's side of the family have very big boobs. I'm like, God, please don't give me those.
Yeah.
I don't want them. And have you ever tried to do a yoga pose with big boobs?
Downward facing dog.
Downward facing.
You need to come up for
Literally
air.
like you're balancing on your boobs, and it's not fun. And in this culture, even internationally, everywhere, where first it was the whole big. In Kenya, it's still that.
Yes.
Because you're still seeing the billboards for what is it called? The
Brazilian butt lift.
yes, the Brazilian butt
yes.
lift. In that age, when you said some of your struggles for your clients is underweight, and
Yeah.
they're coming to you, and that's what they're trying to build. How do you help?
Over time, because I've also gone through the same thing you're talking about. As I said, I was very small when I was young. Then I got calves and a butt, and I didn't mind it because I was still active and I was still sporty. For me, I don't think I've ever had a negative body image to myself because it did what, as you're saying, my body has always done what it needs to do for me.
Yeah.
So even during my pregnancies, I have been really small. Like you can hardly see I'm pregnant until around 7-8 months, and you're like, are you pregnant? Now, after I had my first child, I added a lot of weight postpartum, and one of my aunties says, "Now you look like a woman," and I was like, "That's my cue to go back to training."
Yeah.
So for me, that's the time I realized that there are very, very many shareholders in
a woman's
body. If you're married, your in-laws, then your own family. Then please count your aunties one by one because each one is
It's a shareholder.
a shareholder individually. She's not under the aunties group. Then there's your friends, there's your colleagues. There's also random strangers
Yes.
who come up to you and they're like, I really like what I see. Like, what are you talking about? I don't even know who you are. So there are a lot of shareholders, but I like what you're saying, that it has to be what you want. And I have a group of trainer friends who we talk with, and I have two who are doing a class called the Booty Camp. And they're helping women just build a big booty through exercise.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why, for me, that was very refreshing is to allow women to want what they want for their bodies. If I come to you, and even as a trainer, even as I tell you the truth about what the process will look like, I should allow you to have the goal of having a flat stomach.
Yes.
And you should allow yourself that I want a flat stomach. Yes, I want I want to lose the weight, but I still want to have hips. That's fine. So we have had to get to the point where, because the fitness field is very male dominated, so the bodies we grew up seeing as fit bodies were trained by men.
The bodybuilders.
Yes, they were trained by men, and most of those men were bodybuilders. And they also trained, even go to a random gym today and walk in as somebody who knows nothing.
Yeah.
You will be inducted into that gym based on what that man thinks women should look like. I've gone to so many gyms and people don't know I'm a trainer. I walk in and I look at the gym and they tell me this is the weight section where the men train.
Why can't I be? Yeah, and a lot of women though are never in the free weight section
yes.
ever, and I love the free weight section.
Yes, so women shouldn't lift weights because they look like men. So one of the things that for me I hold space for women is to have the goals, whatever goals you want for your body, you have them. Even if I think, because that's what I think you look nice at this weight and with these curves, with this bust, with these boobs, but whatever, that's good, that's mine.
That's
You should be
Have
able to
yours.
have your own and be your own advocate for your own body and the way you want it to look. Yeah. So we
I
have
think for
had
me-
to teach that.
Yeah, just to add on to now the mental aspect, I think for me is the why. Like, what's your why? And just to add on, sometimes it's okay for a why to be vain. Like, for example,
it's
for me, when I
100%.
when I started losing weight, and I think sometimes there's a bit of shame with that. I really just, because I'd never worn shorts. Like, shorts had never been part of the things that were in my
your
wardrobe. So I remember the first time I wore shorts. I didn't even wear them in Kenya, imagine. I wore first time shorts abroad. I don't know what made shorts okay abroad and not in Kenya. Yeah, and it was summer, and I felt so cute, and the fact that I could cross my legs, I'm like, look at that! It looked so cute. So there are these things that almost excite you as a woman, because you're like, I like how it feels, and it's okay for it to be vain. But I think for me, interrogating the why and not getting stuck on the vein too much, right? Because then that can spiral you out into then now nitpicking every part of yourself. Because I've been there, I've nitpicked my arms, I'm like, okay, then we need Michelle Obama bums, because you saw how that Nini looked. Exactly, because then now you begin having comparison, and comparison is the thief of joy. So I think for me, interrogating my why, and a short-term pleasure is not bad. It's just like the chocolate indulgence in at cafe. If I don't look cute in a short, that's okay. But having the presence of mind and being honest with myself is, let me do this for the better. Like, we have a long-term goal of wanting to be beautiful and wanting to be healthy. Is my body receiving good food? Yes, I look cute and good in the shorts, but did I achieve that by crisps and water? Or did I achieve strength in my muscle because I fed my body? So I'm constantly interrogating my why. So they're the vain whys, then they're the whys for where you're beautifully and wonderfully made. That's what the Bible says. And then I am what I eat, in terms of, if I feed myself, it will even project in my conversation. It will project in how I carry myself. So people are like, oh, you've changed. You look so pretty. I'm like, really?
How your skin looks.
Your skin.
And
how
I'll be
your
like,
hair
exactly.
looks. Everything.
And I'll be like, there's nothing really much. But you come back, you're like, oh, wait, I'm actually eating well. I'm drinking water. I'm sleeping well. And that just projects in how you even walk. Your stride is different. Your bounce is different. So I think interrogating the why and separating the vein from now you being honest with yourself, I think for me is very important.
So for me, and the vein, I think we talked about the vein yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm like, sometimes it's usually very vain for me. And even when I started, I think, working out in my early 20s. And it's because I like being outside. And it was a little vain. I look good. I want to build muscle. Like I said, I rock climb, I hike a lot. I also want to be strong for that, because people don't realize, even if you're rock climb, even runners, people don't actually realize even runners lift weight because it makes them stronger.
Absolutely.
And the other thing I loved, you talked about protein.
Yes.
And we don't talk about it. And it is so important, especially for a woman. Protein and muscle. And Stephanie, I will let you talk more about that, because women are afraid of weightlifting.
Yes.
But muscle is protection
It will
Yeah,
keep us
for your
alive.
body. It keeps you
Yes.
alive.
It will help us.
And as you're
squat.
aging,
Yes.
like for me now in my late 40s, going into 50, it's what's going to keep me alive. So even when we were building a program with Stephanie, like, what are your goals? The first thing, what did I tell you? Build muscle.
To build more muscle.
I need to lose weight, yes, but I need to build muscle.
Yeah.
And women also need to know that the muscle keeps us alive. And you can't build muscle without feeding your body the right things, protein.
Absolutely.
So you said women are very afraid of muscle. Why are they afraid of muscle?
They're afraid of muscle because the fitness field in the initial stages was dominated by the bodybuilding sport. And people need to understand that bodybuilding is a sport. And even sportsmen don't play sports forever. They retire at some point, and they retire very young because that's their prime is over. So bodybuilding is a sport. It's where people train for aesthetics, so their body looks a certain way for competition purposes. Sadly, bodybuilding is not a very healthy sport. So you wanting to look like a bodybuilder is not something most of us can achieve or can even handle. So based on what bodybuilders would put out, even if you look at aerobics videos from a long time ago, the people who would be instructing aerobics were all bodybuilders.
Yeah.
So you'd say, I want to do aerobics and look like that. Then you do aerobics, but you don't look like them.
That, yeah.
Then the aerobic session is their cardio session, but they've body built in the morning and in the evening.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they come and they feel in that class. The class has a nice lanky instructor at the front with some nice tights and
The
sports bra.
Yeah.
And a headband. But the guys at the back have big muscles. Those ones normally lift weights. Hashi doesn't. So that is what made people afraid. There's also a season where bodybuilders were using a lot of steroids. So we had some women on steroids,
Yeah, because that's
looking like men.
Yeah.
According to us, looking, because they never did look like men. They looked more
a
muscular.
little bit more muscular.
They just looked a lot more muscular than the rest of us. But now we said, if this is what fitness is, I don't want it. Remember also the shareholders that I talked about, our partners, our spouses, our boyfriends, they picked you because you looked a certain way.
a certain way.
You know, he likes a chick with butt. There are those who like legs, very long legs. There are those, so that one will always be telling you, that short.
Wear that
Then
one.
they wear the short one. Then there's another one who likes the very tight clothes. There's one who likes a lady who's thick. Yeah. Then those are the things that many women very subconsciously work towards.
That's true.
I've not had a man say, I want a muscular lady.
They just
I'm yet
want
to meet
a man.
maybe my husband, because he found me muscular and I've gotten even more muscular during that time. So that is something that is at the back of our minds. So we reject it because we think we will not be attractive when we get there.
Yeah, that's true.
Sadly, it is out of ignorance, because I always tell people, just try. Please just strength train for 1 year and come back to me and tell me how manly you will look. Show me how manly you can look. Number one, women don't lift heavy enough.
Yeah.
I'm always fighting with everyone when I tell them, you want to buy dumbbells? Anything from 7.5 kilos going up.
No fives.
Those two dumbbells you guys are picking that are pink. My son uses them. Those are for my son. He uses them for squats. He's 2.
Wow.
He uses those are his, the pink ones, the purple, orange. Go pick a dumbbell that has metal. Has metal colors, black or silver, or it's coated, but it's 7.5 kilos is where I start all my clients, even the senior citizens. They start there because we carry shopping. Although now we've gotten lazy, some of us are pushing 2 loaves of bread and 1 packet of milk in a trolley to the car. Because utanunua bag, niko na bag kwa gari. But now you won't carry your shopping. Everything is being carried for us. But we carry a lot of heavy things. We carry luggage in airports. No one is helping you. So your suitcase is how many kilos?
And you're lifting it.
How many kilos?
23.
And you're lifting it.
It's times 2.
Times 2. Plus?
Yeah,
hand
there's the
luggage.
carry-on.
And
then there's the bag. There's the bag on your
But
hand.
when I give you a dumbbell, Steph, this is too heavy. So there's a mental barrier to strength training for women.
Yeah.
And also this thing of men do the hard things for you. Like me, my gas does not get carried for me. Please put my gas there. I will carry my gas. Because that is an exercise you're denying me. When I carry my gas and carry my water onto the dispenser, that is an exercise I'm doing.
Okay.
So we have a mental barrier towards strength training because of how we think we will look based on what we've seen with bodybuilders. But you'll be very surprised by these ladies that we think of any lady you look up to physically. You like how she looks, you like how she dresses, you like how clothes sit on her. Michelle Obama is a fantastic example because everybody knows about her arms.
Yes, they're legendary.
But have you seen her program? She boxes. Now she's playing tennis. Right now she's playing tennis. She's done boxing. She does strength training proper.
Yeah.
And every single
you should
day.
see her do a push-up.
Yes, she does push-ups. The one thing that women almost unanimously agree we can't do
It's push-ups.
is
I know.
push-ups. I can't do push-ups. I'm bottom heavy. Yeah. We all are.
Yeah.
So we can build. But when we think about all the ladies that we aesthetically
aspire
to
and
look
admire.
like,
Yeah.
they all strength train.
Actually, they all straight train.
All of them. If you look at what their lifestyle is like, they eat their protein. They're not very heavy on the carbs when they don't need to. They know their cycle. They don't binge eat. This snacking thing also for women.
Oh
Yes.
yes, that's the.
Have you ever
best.
entered the matatu
But
and
it's a
then
diet culture.
before the matatu leaves the
There's the
stage,
crisp
kabla
guy.
itoke shimo,
Women
are removing cupcakes
cupcakes out of them. Are they out of the
peanuts,
bag?
sometimes
Yes,
even chips.
from the handbag. Chips and chicken.
In the matatu.
In matatus, it's women who eat.
Yes.
It's not men.
I agree. It's true.
Even my own husband, if you're eating on the road, we have to stop at a hotel to eat. Me, I have eaten crisps between now and Naivasha.
Actually, yes.
I have nuts, I have cookies, I have crisps, I have yogurt. I'm asking, do you want water? I had coffee. He had nothing.
Nothing.
So we have a snacking habit.
Culture. It's true.
Look at even after dinner. How many men go to the kitchen to get a cup of tea and a piece of cake?
No, it's
many women?
Mostly women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have some of these things we have inherited because we have seen them. Like the cup of tea, me, I've seen my mother do it to date. I've seen it. I had to unlearn that thing. My sisters are still struggling, some of them,
Yeah.
with I need a cup of tea. And
after
I'm like,
dinner.
why? So we have seen it, then now we have rejected it because we don't know any different. And we're not willing to test and try. In terms of protein, women don't eat enough protein. I always bring to women's awareness in a coffee shop when people are at a date. What is the lady having? What is the lady having at a coffee date? They're going out on a date in a coffee shop.
What do they have?
What is the
Cake?
lady having?
It's a
Or
cake.
pie?
Cake?
Cake,
And?
pie,
And a coffee.
samosa, and a coffee. Yes,
Like
no, drink.
especially a latte.
Yes, a
coffee
big one,
latte,
yes.
mocha.
Oh yeah, and those
What is the man
the
having?
calories in those lattes.
What is
Food.
the man
Yeah.
having? Food.
Food.
Yeah.
Serving food.
Mm-hmm.
Or samosas, a kebab, and a dawa.
So there's this misconception that
Yeah.
usually if you're a little bit like Diana is very fit,
Yes.
is very healthy, and she's fit. But then you have this skinny, but very, very unhealthy. I think the
Yes.
term being used is skinny fat.
Skinny fat.
And interestingly, when we were growing up, I never used to see it. And you notice it very, very quickly. I asked, don't come for me, don't throw stones. And I'm sure you've seen it. All of us have seen it. When we were growing up, it didn't really exist. A lot of women, even if they were bigger, had flat stomachs.
Yes.
Still, they were probably not completely flat, but compared
To now.
to how, yes, they were flat.
Yes.
Now I see women very, very skinny, what would be considered actually completely skinny, but
The tummy.
what's going on there?
It's because of the convenience foods and the very highly processed foods that we consume.
And that's actually
And then
where the
coupled
dangers
with
lie. Yeah.
So there are a few factors. Number one is the processed foods. Your mother had no access to KFC, Pizza Inn, and buy one get one free pizzas every week. She had no access to soda, chapatis, mandazis, cakes, as much as you do.
You do.
For you, they are not only a few hundred shillings away, but they're even a phone call. You don't even need to
you don't even
lift,
leave your
lift
house.
your arm. Your mother had to get up and
make
cook
that.
chapatis. So the consumption of very highly processed foods is number one. Number two, we are very sedentary in comparison to the women of that time. Women of that time didn't have washing machines like we do. They didn't have, even if they had a nanny, there was a lot of physical work involved. Even just going to the market, she didn't have a border guy who would pick her and drop her. So they were more active. Most of them were still farming and doing physical activity. The other thing is there's a change in our hormones now because of a lot of environmental changes. So technology,
the
deodorants,
food, whatever,
so many things, topical
hair products.
So topical items, pesticides. There's a lot of farming practices. Most of the food was farmed organically. Now it's not. So processed, even food processing and how food ends up on the table vis-a-vis how it was back then, farm to table. Then there's also stress factors. So we are living in a very different generation. Comparison is one of the biggest causes of stress for women, especially on social media. Now, the higher your stress as a woman, the more fat you store. And for us, we mostly store around our reproductive organs. So think just below your ribs to your hips. That's where your body stores fat the best. Because it will protect your womanhood.
It's actually biology.
So it is a fight response.
Oh wow!
Your body is doing what it needs to do.
So it's doing that so that the woman in you does not get lost. Your ovaries are fine. Your uterus
protected.
You're able to produce life again.
Yes,
so that's what
produce
your
life
again.
Okay.
So the more stressed a woman is, it starts to manifest here. That's where we store what we call visceral fat. And then there's also just, how also we are also now moving. We are moving a lot less, and there's less
movement.
What do I call it? Activity, even when we socialize. Today we socialize around a cup of coffee. I've now removed that from my life. You want to meet me, we go for a walk first. And then we have coffee, or we go and have food, or we meet for a play date. Let's go for bowling. So we socialize a lot now around food and alcohol.
And alcohol, actually, yes.
So those are the things that are making us have different looking midsections. So the woman's body has evolved based on the times and what our environment is dictating now. Yeah.
So I was actually reading this study. Apparently, girls are getting to puberty
earlier
and earlier.
Yes.
Like now, even 8, 9. Yes, because everything is changing.
Ask me about it. I have a 10-year-old, and I was nowhere near how developed mentally, emotionally, physically she is at 10. I think at 10 I was just following my brother with his bike
everywhere, just being.
That's it. We're going with his bike, his friends, then we come back, looking like chocoras. That's it. But now some things that she even physically, like, it's very different.
And they're starting to also pick up those habits. Like I was talking to a friend of mine, and the daughter at 11, she's starting to watch her food.
Yes.
That she should eat less.
Yeah.
Now, that one is another reason why I train women. And I keep telling this to all the women around me, whether you're a mother to children you have birthed, or you are a mother by default by the children your sisters and your cousins have birthed for you. Because you are still their mother somehow as an auntie or as a neighbor. How we are behaving towards food and exercise is being inhaled.
That's what they're picking up.
By our daughters.
Yes.
I've heard girls saying, I don't eat cake, it makes me fat. And she's 7.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It is.
Because I can imagine what she'll be at 21.
She won't be. She won't be at 21. She'll probably have an eating disorder. And she'll have very negative body image. So how we even the words we say. One of the things I train my clients, especially those who are mothers, to do is eat with your children. Have a culture where you have one meal with your kids where they see you eat regular food. Not hii ni yetu, hii ni ya
Yeah,
mami.
mommy.
Because mommy has different food, hers is steamed, she's eating asparagus and salmon and I don't know what.
And boiled chicken.
Quinoa. And guys are like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Then dad with his lean body and abomoa half the ugali.
It's true.
And meat. And he still looks like that. So it's very confusing.
Yeah. There's a cognitive dissonance.
Yes,
Like what's
and
happening?
even after she eats that way, mom is still the one doing her makeup, dressing a certain way, changing 10 outfits before we leave.
Leaves the house.
Yeah, it's creating a narrative, a story.
A big one, a very big one. And I keep saying you have so much power to determine how your daughters, your nieces, the ladies who work under you perceive food and exercise just by how you carry yourself and how you relate to food.
Absolutely.
So that for me, that one is a big one. If I was to do a passion project, it would be that.
It will be that.
Yes, because our daughters, like now I need to figure out how to speak with Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas. Because they are, of course, as you've said, they are struggling with weight issues way earlier than we did. Those guys were sticks until you got married. Like,
and we were fine.
Thin, dark, tiny or whatever. You were at your smallest. You used to say you're fat and you look at photos and you're like, where was I fat?
I've done that and I'm like, wait.
Where was I fat?
Was I fat?
But now for them, it's coming to them way earlier. So girls in upper primary and then in high school and then in college. So they are having a lot of struggle. They're the ones in my DM with, I want to take my life. That's them.
Yeah.
Because I want to look. So they come to your page. They see, I love the photos you take. Because somebody will easily say, Ati, how old is she again? Taking a photo looking like, how does she look like that at her age?
Wow.
Because somebody will probably guess wrong unless you tell them your age.
It's true.
Unless you, that's true.
That's true.
But for them, the guess is wrong. But on the other side, she looks older than she actually is. And it's a big struggle. But they don't know who to go to. Because we, who should be guiding, are the ones who are not eating for 2 days. We are posting screenshots of the 72-hour fasts.
Yes.
So my screenshot every Instagram few stories is 72-hour fast. I am literally not eating.
You're not eating.
Or I am on one meal a day.
Or the juice.
Or I'm on a juice fast. And I have daughters.
Days.
So they're watching me and they're like, something's not okay with mom. We can't tell, but the food is solving it. So whatever is wrong with me, if there's something wrong with me, if I change my food, I should be
be okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So
and we carry those traumas. Just to add on to this a bit, we because my I keep saying I carry some of my body image trauma from my mother, because she grew up being told she's very tall. My mom is, I mean, she's beautiful, taller than me, but she was told she wasn't beautiful. And even on her report card it was written, like, I'm by reading it, we still have it from those. My mom is 63 now, where somebody would write negative things about how she looks like, and you can see how that subconsciously projected onto me, when she'd be like, oh, I think you're getting a bit of weight, but she's speaking because she doesn't want me to experience what she experienced. And it's only that I'm older now, and now we actually talk, because now we're both adults. You can see also that's actually you are projecting your own pain, and you want to almost like protect me from that by having me be a certain way that's acceptable to the world. So it's very true. Like, I think that passion project may take off, because I think we need more community. We need more conversations around what the mothers, the aunties, the sisters are projecting onto this younger generation.
So Diana, in parting, what advice would you give young women your age, older than you, that are struggling and trying to have a body that they think is what society expects? What would you give? What
I think
advice
for
would you
me,
give?
having gone through the spectrum of 103, got to the ideal weight, and then now coming into full bloom of what my body is, that the number won't change how you feel about yourself. And until I went to therapy, and I remember my therapist did told me, Alexa, she told me, write all the things you don't like about your body. She told me literally, write what you don't like. Then she told me, write what you like. Then she asked me, these things you don't like, are there things you can change? Like, for example, like I have knock knees. And I told her, no, that I can't change. Okay, so if you can't change that, can we learn to accept?
Like you can
Yeah.
accept
Can we
it.
learn to accept who we are and that you can actually dress the body that you have? So I think for me, it just encourage both younger, older, and even tell my younger self, I'm sorry for putting you through so much pain so that you can feel acceptable. That it's not the number on the scale that will make you accept yourself. It is you accepting the season you are in and the body you are in, and then working on how can I be healthy and strong. Because our bodies will give back to us what we put in now.
100%.
Literally,
100%.
what we're putting in January will show in March.
Yep.
And literally it will. So knowing that, okay, if I'm in this season and now I'm 37, okay, now I know I definitely need to be supplementing, protein high up. You're no longer spring chicken of 20s where you can do soda,
Get
Fanta,
along
and
with-
ginger
get away
nuts.
with anything.
And you
yeah.
got away with it,
Yeah.
right? So also be intentional about seeking information. I really, I'm so glad I met you. Like, I'll DM you. So just be glad about seeking information and be in communities of people and getting the right information. Ignorance is not an excuse
No.
anymore.
No, it is
There's
not.
actually a lot of information out there on what you can do and starting small. So don't go out and go like, I'm going to buy all the supplements, I'm throwing out. No. Atomic habits. What's the small thing we're doing now
Right now.
that is making it easier for me to achieve the next step? That's what I'd say. Yeah.
I love that. What about you, Stephanie? What advice would you give?
Wow.
That woman and you're actually in it. You
Yeah.
already gave
Yeah,
the advice.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'm struggling. I don't like the way I look. I want to look like this picture, but yet my body is different. So I will actually never look like that. What advice would you give?
Well, first I would say maybe accept yourself first, where you are at. It's good to know where you are at. Acknowledge it, accept it, and then come up with a plan of how to move to the place that you want to go. Because if you don't acknowledge and accept where you're at now, because some of us live in a bubble. I want to look like this, but you're not looking at where you are starting at.
Yeah.
If you have bad habits and or if you have some good habits we can build on, let's also write those down and take note of that. Then the ones that we need to acknowledge where you're at. Know this is where I'm at. Accept the weight you're at. That's another thing that women don't do. How even our age. How old are you? Hey, don't ask a lady her age. Like, should be proudly your age. So accept your weight, accept your dress size. Stop shopping for
Dress
clothes.
size, 2 sizes.
And then they are there in the wardrobe.
Yeah.
In Itava next.
One
By
day.
December. By December, I'm going to wear it. Accept where you're at and acknowledge it. And then invest in your health.
Yeah.
Just the same way we are investing in the stock market, in bonds, in real estate,
In
invest
education.
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
in
certificate.
education,
Travel.
in our
travel.
looks, our image. We are buying good quality clothing.
Makeup.
Yes, the best
Skincare.
brand. Kwanza skincare.
Yeah.
Just match your skincare budget with
budget
your
to
health
health.
budget. You will be on the right track. So
Absolutely.
invest in it because it will give back. I don't think you regret working out from your 20s.
No.
There's no inch of regret
Yeah.
of investing in your health. None. That going for that checkup, having your teeth done if you needed your teeth done, getting some supplements, getting a coach, buying. I've never had anybody who's felt so sad after eating salmon, despite it being extremely expensive.
Expensive, yeah.
So when you invest in your health, it gives back. So invest in your health. Don't come at it. You want so much from it, but you're only putting in so little.
Yeah.
So invest in it. And then for the ladies who are younger, start.
Actually,
start.
because
Yeah.
I think I have talked about it even on my page.
Yeah.
Why forming back good habits is important because
Yeah.
what has carried me through
Yes.
during that phase that I was struggling is I already had good habits.
Yeah.
So even though I couldn't consistently probably do them, I still did something.
Yes.
Because it's innate.
It was in
Yeah.
your reserve. Yes.
I know how to
You are
eat right.
drawing from
So
your
I'm
result.
usually very aware. I told you, if I'm
Yeah.
eating junk, I know I'm eating junk. I'm not lying to myself that.
Yeah.
And most of the times I'll be healthy because for me, it's normal. It's what I've always done. Exercising, I'll still go for a walk, even if I don't feel like it. So starting
Yeah.
young and forming that habit, even when you're sometimes in the lows,
Yes.
you will still take care of your body because it's innately you. You're not working so hard to make it work. I have to go work out and I don't know how to
Yes.
do that. It just comes naturally.
Yeah.
Because it's you.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, ladies. This was so eye-opening.
Yeah.
We rarely have these conversations. I'm glad
Absolutely.
but now we're having them. Diana, I actually never knew, even though I've known you for years, I never knew it was a struggle. She just brought it up actually, and she told me, if you ever have body image, it was already a podcast in the works. Like, let's have a conversation. And I was like, oh wow, I never knew she had issues because you will never know.
Yeah.
So thank you, ladies.
Thanks for
So
having us.
inspirational. I appreciate you for coming. Thank you so much for listening. We hope we inspired someone and you learned something from all of the ladies and their journeys. And if you want to know more, subscribe. And I would like Stephanie to share her handles and how you can reach her, because I think she's one of the best resources for women in this market. I'm working with her, not because I don't know how to eat. I do know how to eat, or I don't know how to work out. I've always done it, but I do know this time around, I need help. And there was a reason I specifically went to her, because I knew she will support my journey safely. So Stephanie, how can we reach you?
So you can find me on Instagram. That's where I am most active. Fitness.by Stephanie. And I reply all my DMs. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Stephanie. And you watching, we'll have more conversations of this as we live our limitless lives and our best bodies according to us, your definition of your best body. We need to stop having body goals based on others. Create your own, where you're happiest, where you have joy. Thank you.